On the 21st of April this year, Riot's lead gameplay designer published a post admitting that they'd configured this entire ranked season wrong. Not a bug and not a hotfix note buried in a patch. A dev post on LeagueofLegends.com with his name on it that says out loud, "We made a number of mistakes in how we configured the ranked system for the 2026 season start." And then, a line later, the part that everybody screenshotted, it was obvious that the climb this season hasn't felt good to many of you. If you've been playing ranked this year and feeling like something's off, that should be the most satisfying sentence Riot have ever written. Somebody at Riot finally said it. The climb was bad, it was bad because of them, and now here comes the fix. So I went and read what Riot were actually fixing. The fix is a hard reset of Master, Grandmaster, and Challenger in 6 regions. That's the whole remedy for a season they've just called misconfigured. I went through that post 4 separate times, hunting for a single sentence about anybody below Master, and there is no such sentence. Riot don't say your rank was affected. They don't say it wasn't. The subject of the ranked ladder below Master never comes up at all. I want to give you Riot's post properly first, because it's better writing than I'm making it sound, and you should have all of it before I argue with any of it. Riot opened by saying they'd been monitoring the situation at the top of the ranked ladder since the reset in January, and that because of the volatility they'd seen, they're doing a hard ranked reset for Apex players in NA, EUW, EUNE, BR, LAN, and TR. Then they explain how the season got there, and they're pretty candid about it. They say, "We took some larger swings this year with matchmaking to try to create a more satisfying ranked experience." And they list a few of those swings: improving the autofill queue, enabling duos in Apex, and in Riot's own words, increasing satisfaction in certain ranks. Hold on to that phrase, because Riot never say which ranks. Then comes the admission. In doing that, we made a number of mistakes in how we configured the ranked system for the 2026 season start. Look at what Riot actually wrote there. It doesn't say they made a mistake in the Apex ladder. It says they misconfigured the ranked system, singular, whole thing, at season start. And then they describe how it went wrong, and here's where Riot, hand me the numbers, this video runs on. They say attempts to fix the issues left Apex players bouncing between states of 2 completely different LP settings from one patch to the next. On one of those patches, you got 10 LP for a win and lost 30 for a defeat. On the other one, you gained and lost 20. The sharpest line in the whole post is Riot's own conclusion. Riot write that the patch that you played on was a factor in how high you climbed, undermining ladder integrity. That's a Riot developer saying, in writing, that which patch you played on mattered more than how you played. Now I want to do something with those LP settings that the post doesn't do, and I want to be completely clear that this next number is mine, not Riot's. It's division, and you can check it while I'm talking. There's a break-even win rate hiding inside any ranked LP system. If you gain a certain amount for a win and lose a certain amount for a defeat, exactly one win rate leaves you standing still. Take your loss size and divide it by your win size plus your loss size. So take the first patch Riot described. You're up 10 LP on a win and down 30 on a defeat. Divide that 30 by the 40 points of total swing. Your break-even sits at 75%. You needed to win 3 games in 4 just to stay where you were, not to climb, to hold. Now the other patch in that same sentence, where the ladder gave and took 20, divide 20 by 40 and your break-even drops to a coin flip. Same player, same skill, same solo queue ladder. The gap between those patches is the difference between a coin flip and winning 3 games in 4, and the only thing that changed was the fortnight. That's what the patch that you played on was a factor in how high you climbed means once somebody puts a number on it. On the first one, a genuinely strong challenger player winning 60% of their games was going backwards. On the next patch, that same player was flying, and nobody could see which patch they were standing on. So Riot's fix is to increase the baseline to 30 LP for a win and 30 for a defeat, with real values expected to land somewhere either side of that, depending on your rating. Run the same division on the harsh end of the range, they quote, where a win pays 25 and a defeat costs 35. Your break-even is 58%. And here's my second argument, and again, that's mine, not Riot's. Going from 20-point steps to 30 makes every single game half again as big a swing in both directions. If what you were complaining about was the climb yanking you around, the answer they've shipped is a louder version of the same ride. Bigger steps feel decisive, and a bigger step is not a steadier climb. Right, so who actually gets their rank repaired? All current Master, Grandmaster, or Challenger players in these regions will have their visible rank and MMR reset to Master 0 LP. That lands with patch 26.9 at the start of Season 2. Visible rank and MMR, both of them, that's the real one, because MMR is the hidden number that decides your games and your gains, and resetting it is the thing players have been begging for since forever. Riot raised the Challenger cutoff in those regions from 500 LP to 800. Grandmaster goes to 400. Season 1 rewards go out as normal, and Season 3 becomes what they call a final reconciliation pass for the season stuck in the middle. They even print the trade-off out loud. Nothing in the current ladder will be preserved. That's a serious, expensive, well-communicated repair, and I'm not going to pretend Riot did nothing. And every single piece of it stops at Master. The regions that weren't reset get a sentence too. Here's Riot on that. We don't believe that any other regions have experienced the level of instability that would undermine ladder integrity enough to warrant a reset like this. Fine. They looked, they judged, and they told you. The ranks below Master get no equivalent sentence. Nobody at Riot says the lower ladder was stable. They don't say your rank got checked and cleared either. So if you spent the season in Emerald, you weren't ruled out, you weren't ruled in, and you weren't in the post. So, why does the top of the ladder get audited and written up and repaired while the rest of it doesn't get a line? I don't think it's malice, and I don't think it's laziness. I think it's resolution. And Riot published the evidence for that themselves 7 years ago. Go back to the balance post I pulled apart in the last video, where Riot cut the entire player base into 4 groups to decide who gets nerfed. The bottom group, average play, is defined by Riot as everything below the top 10% of solo queue, approximately up through gold. One group, that's the bucket. Iron and gold, same box, same number. Above it, the top 10% of the ladder gets cut into 3 separate groups, each with their own thresholds and their own metrics. Now put 2026 next to that. The volatility gets spotted at the top of the ladder. The measurement that proves it is an LP figure for Apex players. The remedy names 3 tiers and 6 regions. The reasoning gets published on the front page of the league website. Their measurement resolution is at its absolute highest, exactly where the fewest ranked players are. And that isn't a conspiracy, it's a consequence. There are a few thousand Apex accounts per region, so you can look at all of them. Those players stream, so their complaints arrive with clips and VODs attached. Riot say as much in the opening line that they were watching conversations Apex tier players have been having. The rest of the ladder is millions of solo queue accounts, having those same conversations into a void with nobody watching. So ranked gets debugged from the top down, and the resolution runs out long before it reaches your queue. Which brings me back to that phrase from earlier. And one of this year's swings, in Riot's own list, was increasing satisfaction in certain ranks. Certain ranks. They aimed a change at specific ranks. They've now told us the season start configuration had a number of mistakes in it, and nobody has published which rank sat on either end of that. Let's land this, because I want you leaving with something usable rather than a grudge. First, the honest limit, and I'd rather say it than have you find it in the comments. Riot never claimed your rank was broken. The post is about Apex. The measured damage in it is an Apex number, and it's entirely possible that every rank below Master ran perfectly all year. I can't prove otherwise, and I won't pretend I can. What I can show you is that Riot said the system was misconfigured at season start, then published exactly 1 audit of exactly 1 slice of it. Second, the thing to actually do in your next ranked game. Stop reading your ranked LP gains as a report card and start reading them as a diagnostic. If you're gaining 15 a win and losing 25 a defeat, that isn't bad luck. That's the system telling you it thinks you're overrated. Your break even there is 62%. Do that division. It takes 5 seconds and it tells you whether you're climbing a hill or a wall. Third, the thing that changed for me. I used to file ranked complaints under noise because everybody thinks they're better than their rank. Then Riot wrote it down. Sometimes the ranked ladder genuinely is misconfigured. The players saying so were right all along. And the only reason anybody knows is that this particular group was loud enough and small enough to be measured. And the ask goes to Riot, not to you. The tooling already exists at Riot. They spotted volatility across 6 regions, quantified it in LP, wrote it up, and fixed it. Run that same query below Master, and publish the answer. Even if the answer is that every rank down here was fine all along, say so. That's 1 sentence. Because right now, the only players who ever find out whether ranked was working are the players everybody was already watching.